Good evening and happy Monday. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. And I'm back to talk about the concerns that you should have and the questions you should ask yourself when you are buying a multifamily property. Now, there's two different perspectives that one person will have. One is, are you buying as a residential purchase? Or two, am I buying this as an investment property, but a pure investment, meaning you are not intending to move into the property at all. You want it to be fully booked with tenants, 100% occupancy with tenants, and that is the vision that you have for this multifamily. So I'll go over that a little bit later, because the beginning concerns that you should have and the questions you can ask yourself do somewhat blend with each other. So the first thing is this property zoned properly? Are all of the units legal? That's a really important question to get an answer to. So if it's a 3-family, is it a legal 3-family? If the basement is being rented out, is that legal? Does the town know about it? Because if upon the closing, the town finds out that there is an illegal unit, you as the new buyer could be fined for the old owner violating that rule that they are violating. So is this property zoned properly? The next thing is, if it is 3 units or more, is the property registered with the state of New Jersey? Do they have what's called a green card? That is really important. And has the property been inspected? Your attorney can help you find this information out. They should actually be looking this up for you. Your agent can do this for you in advance of even making an offer, but typically it gets discovered during the due diligence phase of once you're under contract. Next is, are there tenants, and when do their leases end? What are they paying for? Are they paying rent? Are they paying utilities? What does their lease cover? And do they have security deposits? A big question to ask is, have any of the tenants asked for their rent to be covered by their security deposit under Governor Murphy's law that he put into place during COVID-19, his emergency provision that allowed tenants to ask the landlords to apply security towards rent. This doesn't mean that you have bad tenants, but it means that they are potentially suffering financially and they needed assistance with paying their rent, and they decided to use their security deposit. A big thing as a new landlord, if you're taking over that property and this tenant will be your tenant now, you will want to ensure that when the new lease gets signed with them, whenever that will be, you can talk to your attorney about that they replenish the security deposit at that point. You can't ask them to replenish it during their original lease that they are working under. So if you're taking over a property and a tenant has 6 months left on the lease, you can't ask them to reimburse the security deposit until that lease ends. So you have to wait 6 months. So that's the understanding of how the law works right now. It might change, but that's how it's working right now. If you are going to be a residential buyer, meaning you're buying this property to have tenants, but you're also going to occupy a unit, you want to make sure that the leases that the tenants have actually align with when you plan to close. So you don't want to all of a sudden get to closing and find out that the unit that you're planning to move into has a tenant in it that they have a lease for 6 more months. That's going to violate your agreement with your lender, which usually states that you're going to occupy the property within a certain amount of time. So if you're an investor and you are buying the property and there are tenants, you want to ask yourself, do I want this property to be completely vacant? Do I want all the tenants there? Am I happy with them? Another question is, are these tenants not just paying their rent, but has the landlord ever had to file eviction in the past prior to COVID? Have there ever been any notices sent to the tenants due to violations of the lease? Those are important questions to ask. Again, all of this can be discovered during attorney review or during your due diligence period. Lastly, is if the landlord themselves, if they have been sued for anything. So are they currently under any lawsuits? Maybe there was a slip and fall in a common area or on a sidewalk in front of the property. You want to just double check if there's any lawsuits that are in the history of the property. There's so many other concerns, but these are some of the big ones. And I like to, when I'm working with multifamilies, to get answers to these questions right away. It requires my client's participation. It requires the realtors, the seller's attorney. Everybody's got to come together to bring all of this information to the table. You want to get copies of those leases. That's 100% so important if you are buying the property with tenants, and if you want the property vacant, whether you're an investor or a residential buyer, you want to find out how the seller plans to get the property vacant for you and make that a contingency to close. This video is really long. Sorry about that, but there's always so much to talk about. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to recording another video for y'all tomorrow.